The collapse of the East African community in 1977 was inevitable. So we needed to reason the key issues that led to the collapse of the East African community. So we are saying E.A.C was formed on 6th June 1967 after the Philip Stokes report, which recommended the formation of East African Federation. It followed the signing of the Treaty of Cooperation at Arusha by the heads of states of East Africa, that is Milton Obote of Uganda, Julius Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania, and Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya. It aimed at enhancing economic development, proper resource utilization, promoting trade, socio-economic and political cooperation in the region. However, we are realizing that in 1977, E.A.C had it collapse. So we need to know the key reasons that led to the collapse of the East African community. Number one, the 1971 coup in Uganda against Obote that brought Idi Amin to power. So we believe by this time, the 1971 coup led to the collapse of Milton Obote. I can tell you, Milton Obote was cooperating with other members of the East African what? Community. But we believe by this time, when a new man rose to power, that is Idi Amin, he wasn't willing to cooperate with other big boys in the room, like Julius Nyerere. The question is, how was E.A.C going to survive when leaders were not cooperating with one another? Another one, the desire by Tanzania to join the Central African Federation. We believe by this time, at one time, Tanzania wanted to join the Central African Federation. Moreover, East Africa had E.A.C. The question is, how was E.A.C going to survive when big countries like Tanzania wanted to move from E.A.C.? Then language differences. It is said Uganda had English as official language. Tanzania and Kenya had Kiswahili. The question is, how were the three countries going to move together when they had differences in the official language? Then, the failure of member countries to pay subscription to the E.A.C. We are saying member countries were made to pay subscription fees to make the work of E.A.C move on well. But it is said in this kind of arrangement that member countries like Uganda at one time failed to pay subscription fees. Subscription fees, this was the money every country had to pay to make the work of East African community move well. But some countries failed to do what? To pay. The question is, how was the E.A.C going to survive? Another point, ideological differences. It is said in this kind of arrangement, Tanzania adopted the socialism, that is Ujamaa policy, while Kenya under Kenyatta was a capitalist. Uganda under Amin, Uganda at one time was a capitalist and it wanted to turn to socialism. In other words, it had what you call a mixed economy. So the question is, how was E.A.C going to survive when they had differences in terms of ideology? Then, the differences in the levels of economic development among member states, i.e., Kenya was ahead of both Uganda and Kenya. It is said that differences in the levels of economic development, where in this kind of arrangement, Kenya was above Uganda and Tanzania. The question is, how was E.A.C going to survive when Kenya was above Uganda and Tanzania? Uganda and Tanzania started looking at Kenya with an envy eye. So it is this that explains why the collapse of East African community was inevitable. Another key point, of course, we are like saying the effects of the economic depression of 1970s. We believe by this time the economic depression of 1970s made East Africa to lack issues like oil. As East Africa lacked issues like oil, it was not easy to manage the East African community. The question is, how was E.A.C going to move on well by this time when they had problems concerning about the economy? Another key point, of course, we are like saying the 1972 economic war in Uganda. The 1972 economic war in Uganda, we believe Idi Amin expelled the what? The Asians. When Idi Amin expelled the Asians, this was not accepted by other countries within the community. So this explains why the community had to collapse. Because Idi Amin started doing his things without consulting other what? Other leaders. It is this that led to the collapse of the East African community. Then the personal differences among East African heads of states, for example, between Amin and Nyerere. We believe by this time personal differences were in this kind of arrangement between Amin and Nyerere. We believe that Amin and Nyerere had what we call personal what? Differences. Because of the personal differences, it is this that led to the collapse of the East African what? Community, where we believe in this kind of arrangement that at one time, Amin said, if Nyerere was a woman, I would have married her off. The question is, how was E.A.C going to survive when members had personal differences? Then corruption and embezzlement of funds crippled E.A.C. We believe by this time, members of E.A.C practice what we call corruption and embezzlement of funds. Money that would have helped E.A.C to move from one level to another level was misused altogether. The fact that money was misused, it is this that led to the collapse of E.A.C. Since money, which was needed to make the work move on well, money was what? Misused. Another one, increasing economic nationalism and protectionism. Some countries like Kenya practice protectionism. Protectionism, this is an economic strategy where a country protects domestic industries from outside competition. So what happened? Kenya at one time refused citizens within Kenya to buy goods from outside. The question is, how was E.A.C going to survive when Kenya was not allowing its citizens to buy goods from outside? Another key point, we are saying that difference in currencies. We believe by this time the differences in currencies. Kenya's currency was higher than that of Uganda and Tanzania. This led to the collapse of E.A.C because this meant that Kenya was so much different from other what? Other countries. Another area of argument, we are like saying today, another key issue, the unequal gains or benefit from E.A.C by member states. It is said unequal gains or benefit from E.A.C by what? Member